Hi and welcome everyone. Fairy Talk here. This is my epoch, and what I'm going to be talking about today is just the fathoming of what life would be like without capitalism. Because I was having a conversation with somebody today, and we were talking about how part of fixing the homeless crisis and the homeless problem would be to possibly take the profit out of the housing market, because it is a basic necessity, a basic requirement of society. As we evolve, you are expected to have a house, so to make it where it's out of reach for a certain segment of society, there's a lot wrong with that. And so we were talking about the possibility of taking investing out of the housing market, so that it would drop the prices and people wouldn't be able to own multiple homes, or if they did, they had to be able to pay for them, and it kept them low. But you're not going to be renting them out. It might be a second house, so you have like a vacation rental or something like that. But as we were getting into this conversation, one of the things that the guy said to me is, he's like, something interesting is that most people can't even fathom, or cannot even imagine what life would be like without capitalism. It becomes a scenario kind of like Plato's cave. And for those of you that don't know about Plato's cave, here's the basic overview. The book report version is that you have a gentleman that's you have a bunch, like three gentlemen that are in a cave. One of them escapes, goes out, gets to see the real world. The other two, they stay there. All they've ever seen their whole entire life is shadows. So they know nothing other than shadows. And they sit there and they make up stories and tell fables about these shadows, because they don't know what the shadows are. And so the guy goes out, he gets to see the whole world, and he notices that and he notices everything that's going on. And so he comes back and tells everybody else, but because they've never seen it, they don't understand it, they can't even imagine it. He's like, yeah, these are guards that are going off, they're going off to do this and to do that, and they're just passing by. And so that's what those shadows are. And then he tells them, about how the colors and all that other stuff. But because these people have never seen this, they don't really fully understand what he's talking about. It's like if I was to talk to you about what it was like to be inside a UFO. Well, you've never been inside a UFO. You have an idea of what a UFO is, but you've never been inside a UFO. It would be hard for you to imagine what the inside of a UFO is, because you would have to imagine what 10,000 years of advanced technology would look like. And that, we can be very creative, but we're not necessarily that creative. And so to be able to see the world without capitalism, what would we be seeing, or not only what would the world look like without capitalism, because that's going to be the first thing that I'm going to talk about, is just what my idea of what it would look like. And then the other thing is what are the competing systems that are better, that would lead us down this path, that would be more of a positive impact on society, or at least an expected positive impact. Because even with the legal tender, there was an expected positive impact. But did we get a positive impact? For some, yes. But the further time goes along, less and less people benefit from the system, because just the problems that arise within the system, because it's imperfect. Us finding a perfect system is going to probably take 5,000 years of constant, wars and famines and just idiocracy, to be able to reach that so-called utopian society, or at least a society that we can be proud of, that has peace, that has a foundation on logic and reason, and values freedom of the human being, and understands the human being's place within nature and the universe. Okay, regardless of religion, just to understand the scientific understanding of that. All right. So first thing we're going to talk about is what would the world look like without capitalism. And for America, we can kind of use us as an example, because Adam Smith and his Wealth of Nations, and he did a companion book that talked about the morals behind the Wealth of Nations, but most people just point to the Wealth of Nations, especially pure capitalists, because all it talks about is making money. It doesn't actually talk about accountability, because within capitalism there is no accountability, for the sheer reason that uh, the origin of capitalism comes from Germany. I believe it was around the 1880s. And it essentially is the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. He who has the capital makes the rules. You and I, we don't have capital, so therefore we don't make the rules. Now, is capitalism operating correctly? Yes, it is operating exactly the way it was supposed to, because those that have the wealth and the property are the ones that make the rules for everybody else. So to sit there and say that capitalism is broken, no, we're getting to see what the long-term effects of capitalism are, because it allows our elites to really show their true colors and how they really feel about us, what they really think about us, and so on and so forth. So Adam Smith, what he talked about was the essentially the free market, or what is called the natural economy. Okay, and what the natural economy is it in the homeless world, there is more of a natural economy than you see out in the public world. Okay, because you're bartering. You're like, for example, somebody wanted a cigarette. Well, I'm like, do you got 50 cents? He's like, no, but I got this butane lighter. Okay, I'll take the butane lighter because I know that I'm gonna cross a white doper. White dopers love those things, so I know I got a tradable value. So now I take that 50 cents and I go and I sell it for $1. Okay, because it's a butane lighter, it's worth it. I can get it from a white doper because they need the butane lighters, because that's how they consume their stuff. Okay, so when you see the free market, what it is going to do is it's going to open the world for you to be able to negotiate, to be able to haggle. Okay, a great example for this for me was when I was in San Francisco. I would go into Chinatown. I would say, hey, I'd walk in, I would see this duffel bag for $10. Now, did I need the duffel bag? Did I want the duffel bag? No, didn't care about it. It was more about the challenge, because this is part of the culture, especially in Chinatown in San Francisco. Is okay, so I walk in there, I see that bag. I know that that bag is not worth $10. I know that they marked it up because they expect me to haggle. Only the morons don't haggle. They just go in there and pay full price. Okay, in a capitalist society, the price on there, it might be the price or it might be higher. But when you're dealing in the free market, when you're able to go out there and find real value, you can haggle and barter and trade and get things at a better deal, because you are either taking advantage of somebody's needs. So, my lighter dies, I need a new lighter. I'm going to pay a little bit more for a lighter, especially in trade, than if I already had a lighter that was working. So you kind of have to be able to fill somebody's pain point. Okay, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to uh, being able to operate within the free market and kind of being able to fathom it, just imagine that, like, you like I was going back to with San Francisco. So I would see the bag for $10, and I would go up to the person. I say, I give you 10, and they go, no, 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 I want 7. I want 7. Okay, so they've already showed that they're willing to come down in price. Okay, but they're trying to get the most from you as they can, and you're trying to get it for the least amount as you can. And so therefore you haggle back and forth. And you're like, no, 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 all I can do is 5. No, 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 I can only do 7. So you turn around and you make it about 1.5 steps, and then they'll be like, okay, 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 I take $5. Okay, because that's what they were going to sell it for to begin with, but they were trying to make a profit, and you were trying to get a deal and get a reasonable value in the product in which you're buying. So the free market, things will be marked up. It may seem more expensive, but that's because you're not used to haggling on price, looking at things and going, I can barter this, I can trade this. I'll give you 2 cigarettes and $2 for this. Okay. Because everything has value to a person, and to be able to use that in trade is important. Okay. So what are the different viable systems that will truly work? Now, Adam Smith, I think he found the truism. Like, if you want to know a perfect system that will never fail, that will always be fair and beneficial to all, look at the free market. Okay, that is probably the best system, but we in America don't understand what the free market is. And the free market is, again, being able to haggle and barter and trade. You don't necessarily need money to be able to work in the free market because everything has value, everything is tradable. Versus being in a capitalist society, we want these pieces of paper with faces printed on them, and we want to be able to hoard them and say that we have more pieces of paper than anybody else. Okay, because he who has the capital makes the rules. You want to be able to make the rules, so you want to be able to hoard the capital. Well, in the free market, you don't have anything like that to deal with because it's not about hoarding capital. It's about being able to have your creature comforts, being able to go out there and to get that couch for $200 off, and you gave up maybe like 5 games that were valuable, but you were done with them that you could have traded away. So now, the games worked as the $200 in trade-in. Let's just use that as an example. Okay, because that's what the free market allows. It allows fairness. It allows you to consolidate. It allows you to take the things that you have to be able to put them out into the marketplace for value. Versus the system that we have right now, it's strictly dependent upon currency. There's very little trade that goes on, so on and so forth. Another good project or another good system that would definitely work, especially with the modernization of our workforce and our industry with advanced robotics and artificial intelligence, would be to look at Project Venus. Now, if you watched not comment Zeitgeist, okay, I think the second one is where he talks about I think it's Peter Joseph and the Venus Project. Now, that is a lot of what the free market is, but it is also being complemented by advanced robotics, because it's saying that instead of having this huge workforce, what you do is your machines make most of everything, and your commodities become food. You're trading food amongst each other because you have an abundance. You can grow your own because everything else you need is being provided to you because of robotics. Now, there's probably a lot more detail that goes into it, but that's just the basic 50,000 foot view of what Project Venus is, which it takes the free market and integrates it with the advanced technologies that we have to be able to benefit us to get us a quality of life. Because really, the whole thing that we work for in life is to be able to have a quality of life. But because we are oversaturating our money supply, we are consuming and buying useless trinkets that have no value because you are convinced that you need it, because if you don't have it, all these things could go wrong in your life. And so therefore we create a consumer society, because that is the side effect of what capitalism brings to the marketplace. Versus, when we were under the free market, it was more about the quality things in which you had, and it may have been just a few quality things that you had, but those were the things that were your true value, your true wealth, the generational wealth that you passed along. And each member of the family would add to that along the way. So in a free market, you have things like generational wealth, unlike what you see in the capitalist society, which, their children are so incapacitated that within a couple of generations they squander all that wealth, and that family has lost its prominence. Versus in the free market society, the family's prominence is a value add, which also gives it certain preferences and certain amenities in the free market that they wouldn't get in the capitalist market. Okay, but those are some competing systems that you could look at on top of what it would look like, and like kind of how do we fathom what it would be like to be outside of the capitalist system. Now, we all look at the capitalist system and we go, okay, it's a great system. It's what's made a lot of wealth. Yes, but wealth is an illusion. Okay, what is wealth? Is wealth your relationships? Is wealth money? Is wealth property? Is wealth a combination of all of those? What is wealth? And to each individual, wealth, the definition of wealth is going to be different. For me, it's a place to sleep, that I don't have to pack up my camp every day, the abundance of food so I can eat quality food throughout the day, and things like that. That to me is wealth. Having $1 million house is not wealth. That is a waste of money. Okay, but when you get away from capitalism and you realize that you don't need all this money to be influential. You need to be you need to be a good trader, or you need to be good at networking within your community, okay? Because that is where your money is going to come from, not how much money you have, not how much money you spent on advertising and all those things, but basically your reputation and the way in which you are viewed positively or negatively within the community, okay? And so what something like the free market would do versus capitalism. Capitalism does not allow for accountability of our corporations. However, under the free market, accountability is the very foundation, because if you are not accountable, if you're reckless and irresponsible, those are the things that would put you out of business. Not mismanagement of funds, even though you're ethical and you are offer quality service, but it's more or less, and that is the night and day. But anyways, guys, you guys know how to help the channel. Become a subscriber, hit that share button, leave me a comment, tell me what you think. If you think that there's a better system or a better way, or if you think I'm wrong, please let me know. I'd love to have that discussion with you in the comment, maybe even make another video on it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.